All right, I am going to change my view. There we go. Sorry. That way I can see, it was on the speaker view, so it only shows like one big, like size of one person. I need it to be on that group one so I can see everybody. It's just, that's how I am. All right, so for today, I have decided that we were going to do, so I put 3 different kind of topics, and we may not get to some of the third one. I mean, we may not get to the third one at all. Just depends on how fast we're going with it. The first one was just like activities, like different kinds of activities that can mean just doing like sports, arts and crafts, stuff like that. And then I have food, which is always a fun one. And then the last one I have is verbs. And the reason of verbs is it always feels weird whenever I say verbs, because then I feel like we're about to do an English class. It's not really that, it's more so of that way you know how to basically explain and communicate what you are doing. So those are the 3 I have planned. I just wanted to send a little announcement right now is that next week's class is not going to be like a typical class, how it's been right now, where I'm just teaching all the signs. Next week is going to be actually more games, playing of like practicing our signs, like quizzes, but like in a fun way. And this is something new that I want to try last session class group for like the 8th class or the 7th class. We did a game night sort of thing of practicing our signs, and everyone said they really enjoyed that and suggested that might be something good to add more into the class. So I thought maybe doing one almost like a midterm and a final, even though they're not real tests, having just 2 different activities you can do, or activity nights. So, all right. So to get started with our activities, I'm going to go down with sports first, because those are kind of ones that are easy to pick up on, see, and all that. And then proceed to go more. And if there's any I miss, please let me know. I'm happy to always, again, tell you, like, I'm not going to remember every single activity that anyone can do. And honestly, I might not even think of some that people can do, because I am thinking of the ones I do, not what everyone does. So I'm going to start off easy with football. I'll give y'all football, because that one is, just in the South, that is a big one. So football, you're going to have your hands slightly kind of open like this. They're going to face each other, and then they're going to go like this. Football. And I always thought of it as where these were like the players, and when they go in for their the colliding. I'm not a big football fan, I won't lie. I mean, I was born and raised an Auburn fan, but like I'm not always the one going, oh my gosh, did you see that move? I'm like, I have no idea. So, but this, and then someone said, it's because you're holding the football. The way you hold the football is like you catch it like this. And I was like, you know what? Either way works. So football.
The exact same thing you did, GIllian. So it looks like people, like right. When you get where's the church, where's the steeple, you're doing the church. It's everybody. It seems like this would be, I don't know.
It would make sense. Exactly. So I'm glad to know I'm not the only one out there, because I remember when I said that, I was so proud in my ASL class about, I know why. And I explained it, and everyone was like, I mean, I get it, but I just thought it was holding a football. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I was all right. We're fine here. We're good. So the next one is baseball. Baseball is easy. Baseball. It's like you're holding a bat. Baseball. Now for basketball, I have seen 2. One I learned and then I've always used, which is you have your 3 fingers and you're like pointer finger and middle finger kind of bumped, and it's basketball. But I have seen some of my students sign this where they'll go basketball. And it's almost like, when you see those boys and they're playing their game, go, oh, yeah. So they'll start doing that. So I think this one is more kind of like the actual like proper sign, where this one's more the, just kind of that more common natural language, if that makes sense. And then we have, yes, that's the word. Oh my gosh, that is the word. Why could I not remember that word? Oh my goodness, there I am going. So then the next one is volleyball. So volleyball, it's like you're pushing the action, the ball. It's the motion of volleyball. So volleyball. And you want to kind of like not look like you're almost like, that the rays in the roof. No, it's volleyball, like volleyball. And then soccer. So soccer is going to be non-dominant hand is sideways like this. Dominant hand's doing the same kind of motion, but comes up and kicks. So soccer. And you want to make sure the side of your pointer finger on your dominant hand hits your actual non-dominant hand. Soccer. I don't know why it's this. And I remember I was very kind of disappointed that this was soccer because I played soccer for 13 years. So I was very excited to see that sign. I was like, I get it, but this is kind of disappointing to me for some reason. I don't know why, but it is. So there's soccer. Skating. So skating is going to be, you do almost like you're doing your 2 X's and you just go skating. Yeah. I always think it's just, it's like the motion you do. It's like you got your wheels and you're just rolling. I've never been good at skating, so I'm always that motion, but skating. Okay, let's see. What other main big sports are there that I'm not thinking of? For softball, when you describe it, you basically still do baseball. You can go either like girls or you can fingerspell softball. So it's just soft. I just fingerspelled it fast. That's all. Sorry. But yeah, so softball. Let's see. What other sports are there? I'm trying to think. I know there's more. I know there's so many out there that I just don't even know.
They like gymnastics or cheerleading and stuff like that.
So I'm trying to remember gym and cheerleading, gymnastics.
Did we do swimming?
Oh, no, not swimming. Okay, there's one. That's the one. So swimming is swimming. It's just your hands kind of, it's like you're almost literally doing the motion of swimming. So swimming. There you go. I'm trying to remember gymnastics and cheerleading. I want to say cheerleading is basically doing the motions of cheer, but I won't lie. I was never a cheerleader, never interested in it. So when we learned that sign, I was like, and it just kind of, went away. So I will check back on that and double check, as well as gymnastics, because those both were not my things. I wish gymnastics would have been a little bit more, but it just didn't work out. As a kid, it wasn't great. So I will check on those later and I will come back and give you guys those signs. Actually, let me real quick write that little note or I will forget.
Oh, what about ballet?
That's one I've never seen.
Oh.
I'll have to look that one up or I'll have to check with that one as well. Let me add, where are we? There we go. 4th meeting. Check. Sorry, I do talk out loud. It's just the way to help me remember what I'm supposed to be looking up. Because if I don't, I won't say it. We said ballerina, cheerleading, gymnastics. Okay. There we go. Okay. Are there any other more sports you guys can think of?
Martial arts, karate.
Oh. Wow, I really don't know a lot of the specific sports. I know all the main basics because also those are the only ones we use at, in schools. So I will look that one up as well, man. This will be very enlightening for me to check, but yes. Oh, I know. Okay. So I know that these aren't really activities themselves, but I think they are kind of partially they're important when you are having a conversation about a sport. And so the sign for game. So game. Yeah. Game. Mm-hmm. The sign for sports is going to be, you're going to now have them kind of sideways and then you just brush them back and forth. Sports. Mm-hmm. Good. And then, let's see. Oh, the sign for practice. So the sign for practice is going to be your non-dominant hand is going to have the pointer out sideways. Dominant hand is going to be in your kind of resting A position. And then your A is going to go up against it. Yeah. Like this. See, there's the front. It's like you're brushing your knuckles up behind your pointer finger. There you go. Practice. So this is practice. This is for any kinds of practice. I have soccer practice. I am practicing my spelling words. It's just practice. Okay, now we can go on to some other activities. So let's see. So for reading, like if you're reading a book, reading is going to be your non-dominant hand is again palm up. Dominant hand is going to be in like your two fingers, and you just kind of motion it like this. And this is for the sign of, you kind of can pick up on, these are like your eyes reading the page. So reading. The sign for dancing is going to be your palm facing up now of your non-dominant hand. And you're, again, going to have these two, and you just go dance. Dance. And you're just basically swinging back and forth. And then for the sign for, well, now I'm getting into verbs. Sorry, I'm realizing they're blending right now. So we might be just doing verbs and activities together, but I mean, that does kind of make sense in that way, because a lot of times, like, if you're doing a book club, you're doing a reading club, those activities you're doing are included with that. So the other one I was going to have is jump. So the sign for jump is, again, non-dominant hand, it's palm up, super easy. Your palm on it, your jump, jump, jump. It's literally like you're pretending like your hand has got its legs of its own and it's jumping, jump. And that could be just for like jumping up and down, like acting like a wild person, or just jump. All right, let's see. So some more activities. So I feel like I've shown you guys the sign for art. If I have not, I apologize. They do blend together. So for drawing or art, it's going to be non-dominant hand is, again, this palm motion. Dominant hand's going to have your pinky up. This is for art. So you're just going to brush your pinky. It's almost like you're making S's on it. You know how when you're just randomly trying to put a like paint or water on a paper, and you just kind of go that motion. For drawing, it's the same, but with your pointer finger, drawing. The sign for painting, and then I'm going to stop and go back what I've done, because I realized we're going far without review. Painting is going to be your whole hand, and you just brush it up against it like it's a paintbrush. All right, so now we'll go back to where we were with the sports first. I feel these are ones that aren't too challenging. That's probably why I kept going ahead with them, is they're ones that once you see it, you're like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, that's not even, like, you almost feel like I could have guessed that. So football. Baseball. I'm going to go through all the list of my sports. Basketball. And we have volleyball. I think there's another sign also that I've seen for volleyball too, but that's one I've just seen more often of. So, soccer, swim, skating, and then was there another sport, or was it just went to game after that?
We talked about softball. I can't remember if you did.
So girls baseball. And then we had, when you said that, it reminded me of something else I forgot that we talked about. We had girls softball, and then we had, what was that?
Swimming? No, we did swimming. Game, sports, practice were the other.
Okay, so maybe I'm just feeling like I'm forgetting something, but really I'm not.
No, but we talked about that list that you were going to look at.
That's probably what I'm thinking is over here is going, oh my gosh, all these ones I don't know. So it's really going to stick with me, you guys. All right, so game. I realize I am kind of low in this, so game. Then we have sports. And then practice.
Wait. Sports was this?
So sports is going to be, okay. So you got the front, I don't even know how to call this. Not your long,
Yeah. this little section. Yeah.
Yeah, that one is
Sports.
going to be,
Okay.
yes. And then you have game that's out like this. Yeah. Yeah. See, it's because you can't really do, it just looks weird. So game, sports. Yes. I know. I get that confusion all the time because I'm always like sports, but then because I would think that would make sense that they should be like the same knuckle placement. But until you actually do the motions, you're like, oh, wait a minute. That just feels not right. That does not work. So, all right. And then we moved on to activities. So we had reading. Then we had dancing. Dancing. It's those two legs again. And this is also the sign for dance. So if you're saying there's a school dance, it's the same thing. And then we had jumping. Jumping. And then after jump, we had, was that when we did drawing? Yes. So art. This is just the sign for art. And then drawing. Then we have painting. Okay, now we're caught up. Okay. See, the problem is when I go too far ahead, I don't remember them all. And then, because I always steer clear of my list. I try to make a list every time. My list just kind of goes, you know what? No, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm going to do it my way. And then I don't remember what we were. Okay, so we did painting. Another activity is, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Oh, tennis. Okay, so for tennis is that motion of you tennis, like tennis. Usually it's more just like, tennis. You don't have to do the back and forth. That's just me being me. I like to be over dramatic sometimes. So tennis. And then why am I drawing a blank on activities? There's so many different activities. There's what other activities? Okay. How about this? What activities do you guys do that are going to be partial to you guys?
Hiking.
Okay. So for hiking, I have seen where you'll do the sign for mountains and then walking. Yes. So the sign for mountains is mountains. You're just like imitating the hills. So mountains. And then like walk. And I have seen some that just kind of go like, what is it, like this? Hiking, something like that. Yes. I will double check again because I used to be a hiker, not anymore. And so a lot of people I work with, they do hike, and I just always tend to never get on good conversations with them about that. So I have to double check with me like, hey guys, actually get me involved in this conversation.
My husband's gonna want to know ultimate frisbee.
Oh my gosh.
Do I have to spell that one, GIllian?
See, I think it would just be frisbee like this, and then you might have to spell ultimate. So it's showing like there's an actual like competition, but I'm pretty sure it's just.
What's the sign for dog? I need to be able to say not the dog one. Like no, he's not throwing the frisbee at the dog.
So I'll give you the sign for dog. The sign for dog is, it's kind of a two-part. It's not a two-parter, but your leg is involved. You pat your leg and end in a snap. And it's not always like a real snap. I mean, you can, but like it's basically the sign of you saying like, here boy, and then like snapping. So dog.
Okay.
You just be like, not dog. No.
Yeah.
Dog, no.
That's what I'll do.
Okay, wow, I'm really losing my activities list right now. I usually have a good one on these. Let's see, what other activities are there that I'm forgetting of?
I like bicycle.
There we go. Thank you. I feel like I'm just over here sitting like, I don't know any more signs now. And it's like, no, I do. I just can't. I'm not creative enough, you guys. By the time I get home, I'm like, what am I going to do? So biking is easy. Biking is the motion of rolling your bikes. Biking. I apologize. My dogs are barking. Don't know why they're doing it. Probably the other dog that lives across the street that drives them crazy every day. They're ready to go, ready to fight. That's what they do every time. So biking. For what is it?
Oh, what about like track? Like track
So
and field
track
or
is going to have T's. You make 2 T's and then you go back and forth. Track. That is what I've seen. Track. And then the sign for run. There we go. I should have stuck with my jumping and my dancing because there's run and walk in there. And I completely forgot about them. So I'm going to first go with walk. The sign for walk is both hands are like this. And you just move them back and forth. And it's like the motion of walking. And then the sign for run. So this one, I'm going to get a little bit on a tangent kind of side conversation, but I do feel it is important to know. The sign for run, there are many different signs for run. And the reason is because there's a base, if you realize, you don't realize how many things we use the word run for until you start to have to understand like how you're thinking of how you would actually sign that. So the actual sign for running, like I am running, is you're going to have both in the L position. Oh, excuse me. And your dominant hand's going to have its finger hooked on this. On your dominant hand, non-dominant. Dominant hand is hooked on the back of your non-dominant hand. There we go. And then your dominant hand's going to motion it like this. So your dominant hand's going to bend and pull it forward. Run, run. It's a very interesting sign. And so when you're considering having to use the word for run, like you're running, when you're saying like I have to run to the store, you wouldn't use the word run because you're not actually running to the store. You're going to the store. But we use the word run in that. And so that's when you would say just go. Go. Easiest sign as can be, go. And then, for example, like I'm running for office. You want to say I'm running for office. That you're not actually running unless that's your campaign. Then that's a whole other story, and that's not included in this. So that's when you would have the whole discussion of like voting, and you would kind of get into that kind of concept. I've always saying I'm trying, like I always go for like I'm trying to become, and then I fingerspell whatever it is. But also I'm not very well in that. So I'm not trying to do anything, run for any kind of office. So I'm always like, that is above me right now. So we're not even thinking of that. And then if you have like a run in your stockings, I know stockings are not used often, but I have a run in my leggings or a run. I don't know if that would work, but anyways, that's when you would be like showing like a tear, like rip, break, kind of things like that. So the word for run has so many different signs, and you just have to sit there and go, wow, we really do use the word run for a lot of things that don't actually mean the word we mainly use it run. So that's just kind of a cool thing that does happen a lot with signs. I'm continuing on this real quick, is that there are a couple of words that do have multiple meaning signs because we don't use them like their meaning. We use the same word, but they don't have the same meaning. And in ASL, that means they get a completely different sign. So, which I kind of like, I do like, I'm not going to say I really do like, because with it, that helps with being able to think about what you're trying to say, and it clears up what your point is. And it kind of leaves less room for misunderstandings. So, okay. After we got on that, let's come back. Let's see. I'm sorry, my dog is just barking and I don't know why she's doing it. It's driving me crazy, but she's hushed now. We're good. Okay, let's see some more activities. Archery. Archery is kind of an easy one. It's archery. Ooh, I know one. Now that I'm sitting there thinking of a school one. So robotics. I think this one's such a cool one. And it is going to be, so some people do it without. I do tend to see, okay, I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm going to have to get my dog to hush real quick. I am so sorry.
Okay, I have to tell this funny story. I mean, at least it was funny to me. My sister and her husband have this puppy named Clark, and Clark is a giant dog now. Like, he's 6 months old, but he's like the size of like a almost a shepherd. Like, Clark is going to be ginormous. He's going to be like Clifford the Big Red Dog. And my sister's a veterinarian, so he goes to her clinic with her every day. And he's so used to people. He loves people. He runs in every day and greets everybody. And but he's learned the word for cheese because they have to give a lot of the dogs their pills with cheese. So Clark knows what cheese is. Well, when they get home, she lives next door to a family that has a lot of dogs, and Clark hates the neighbor dogs. And so he starts barking and he tries to run. And my sister discovered the other day that she could yell, Clark, cheese, and he'll stop and like run back to her. And that was so fun. And like, I would too if you yelled, hey girl, cheese. I mean, like, I'm coming. I just thought that was so funny. And Clark's like, okay.
I totally love that. That's kind of how my dog Henry is. Meredith's the one who was barking. She's a Jack Russell Terrier who thinks she's the baddest girl in town, especially in this
you meant Maris? Like, I heard Meredith, but I was like, Maris is barking? Maris is her sister.
She is. So, and I won't lie. There's probably, I mean, I was thinking in my head, did I accidentally say Maris? I have done that a couple of times. And especially because I call Meredith by Mare sometimes. I'm like, yeah, Mare. And Maris gets so mad because that is her nickname. And she'll just stare me down. And she's like, stop. No, like we can't have the same nickname. We like, you and mom already get us confused. We're not doing this. So I very well could have said her name, but she's the one who's yappy. Thank goodness she's calm. But I do have a black lab who is huge. We think he might be part Great Dane because of how big he is. And I love him to death, but he's a very smart dog and he knows certain words, like the word for treats or chewy. He knows, and he perks up so fast and he just comes to you. And I taught him to like sit. He doesn't receive anything unless he sits. So he'll sit and he immediately starts pawing at you, or he'll get into his little beg position, but his beg position always ends up with him leaning on me. And I'm like, okay, sir. Okay. Like, so, all right. I had to add that. I'm a big dog mom. Like, it's really bad, guys. So had to go off on my little tangent of my dogs. But all right, now back to it. So we had archery. We just did archery.
Robotics,
that's the one. So some people do robotics like this. I do see more with the R going robotics. And this is the same for robot and robotics. You would just use the same sign. Robotics. The reason I remembered that is because during my internship at my school that I now work at, I volunteered for their robotics competition. And it was a very cool experience because they were all like high schoolers. And at that point, I'd only been working with elementary kids, and watching all these science, these like robots move. I was just like, wow, that's so cool. It brings like a little nerdy side of me out. So that's why I remembered. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's any more activities. I think that might be it for right now. If you guys do think of some, obviously you are more than welcome to either like send a message. I'm trying to get my chat back to make sure I can see it. You can either send a message through the chat, or if you think of something later on you do want to know, you can always email Katie and she'll ask me, and that way. So, okay, so now we're going to go on to the other half of this, which is food. Food is a very fun one. And this is one that no judgment, because no judgment is, I mean, when you are asking for all kinds of food, because will not lie, my entire first half, besides the main like key ones, will be complete junk food because I like junk food. I'm not gonna lie. So just thought I would say that. All right. So the first one is going to be just the sign for food itself. So food. You just tap. It's just pretend like you're motion putting food in your mouth. Food. And then the sign for eat is going to be eat. It's just one. And that's something you'll notice later on with some more signs, is that there's motions of the tapping means the actual physical thing, whereas one tap means like the verb, basically. And so I think that's kind of cool. I won't lie. I thought that was so cool when I finally realized that. I was like, oh, that's awesome. So food, eat. All right. And then I had hungry. So this one I do always have to put like a little disclaimer on, because if you do it slightly different, it does mean a different thing. So what you do is you have almost like your open C motion. You're going to start at the top, like at your collarbone, and you go down. You don't go all the way down. You're just like this. So what I have to warn is do not do it multiple times. That does not mean hungry. It means something else that's not really appropriate, that you don't want to have to say to someone. Unless, you know what? No, I'm just going to say that. No, you just don't want to say that in public. So it's nothing bad. It's not a bad word. I'm trying to make this family friendly. That's all I'm trying to do right now. But maybe Miss Katie can like put in, there it is. There it is. Yep. There. If you see the chat, she'll tell you. So I have in the other classes been a little more okay with just saying, I'm going to be right. This is what it is. But now I'm like, no, we should make this family friendly. So, but yeah, so one motion is hungry, and then multiple motions is that side. And so that is also another thing to be careful of. There are signs that are very similar to either bad words or just, and when I mean inappropriate, I mean more adult signs, obviously. And, you know, you just, when you're still trying to learn it, you don't want to have those mistakes. I feel like that's just horrifying. Like I'm getting red even thinking of it. So I'm trying to give you guys, be like, hey, this is what's happening. So, you know, if it comes up, like this is when it happened. So
I do feel like that one in particular is sort of a dupe, because when I'm hungry, I get excited, and so I could very easily do it multiple times just because I'm really hungry. Like,
yes.
I feel like that's like somebody laid a trap right there.
Oh yeah, because one of my college professors, who is the reason I always remember this, is because she, one time when she was learning ASL, she was very tired at that class, and her professor asked her, well, what's going on? And she made it her goal to always sign during the class. And she came up and she was trying to say, I'm really, really hungry. And she did it so many times. And the professor pulled her aside and was like, that's not what you think it meant. And she was so embarrassed. And I was like, we're not doing that. I was like, we can't do this, because I could never come back from that. So that is why I always remember that sign. Okay, now let's move on. So now the next one is thirsty. So the sign for thirsty is now your pointer finger doing the same motion of going down, thirsty. Again, I would suggest just one to be sure, be safe. And then, so the different kinds, I started with water. So obviously water is kind of an important one. You make a W and your pointer finger is going to tap the corner of your lip. Water. And this is any type of water. This is not just drinking water. This can be oceans, rivers, because the way you define rivers, oceans, and all of the different types of bodies of water is kind of a little complicated, at least from what I've gathered, because you can have like water, like I make those motions of waves for like ocean, and then like rivers. And if I'm doing a lake, I just kind of make a circular like motion, and then water. So I've not always seen very clear signs. If you're trying to describe a specific type, I do see just finger spelling, like lake, river, anything like that.
If you are trying to describe where a water fountain is it the sign for water and then a sign for fountain, or okay?
It is just, if you're asking for where a water fountain is, you would just go water where. And most of the time I've never seen any kind of confusion, but if like it came down to it and you could finger spell like a fountain. And again, I know the finger spelling, that's why I was so big on the finger spelling. I'm always so big in that first class, is like, you got to master the finger spelling. You got to at least practice that, because I mean, once you get that, if you can't figure out something, you can always finger spell. So, but most of the time I see, if you say like water, where's water? They'll point. And
if someone had said to me, like, can I get coffee, or where can I get something to eat or drink? And I was trying to say, all we have is a water fountain.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would just spell out fountain.
You could still just say only is water.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Point. Yeah. So there's nothing very clear. If you're trying to be like for bottled water, that's when you would do the motion of cup, which is cup. You have your non-dominant hand, palm up. Dominant hand is in that C motion, and you just go up, cup, cup. And you could just be like water cup. That's all I have. And that kind of, that will suffice. So, all right. And then the next one I have is milk. So milk is going to be milk, your dominant hand. It's the motion of like squeezing the cow's udders. So milk. And it's always cool because this is one of the few baby signs that one of the signs that a lot of times babies learn. And I will always say this, you should definitely teach your baby signs if you can. Not because it's just so they can communicate in ASL, but it actually has been proven to help with their language development. So like there's been research studies shown that when a child is able to, has learned some baby signs, I think if I remember correctly, they tend to actually speak management, because a lot of times, when you have your terrible 2-year-olds, it's because they can't explain what they want. They're trying to tell you, I want mama, and you're like, what is that? And they get frustrated. So if they have the motion, they can just go milk, then it kind of helps solve some, not saying that it clears all your terrible 2s, like terrible 2 behaviors, but it does help solve some of them. And that's what I found from research. And I'm always like, one of my classes was about research for that. And it was the coolest thing I'd ever saw. I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So I just always suggest that. I'm like, doesn't make anybody, I won't judge anybody if you do it. I won't judge if you don't, but it's always like, here's a good suggestion. So, okay. Then we have soda. So the motion for soda is you're going to have non-dominant hand in a fist. Your dominant hand is going to have its middle finger inside your fist. And then you just pull it up and slam. So you just pull it out, slam. It's almost like you're pulling it open and then that motion. So soda. And I will add, we are going to talk about emotions and kind of feelings later on classes. I love how that sounded. It sounds like we're going to really be one with ourselves and talk about our feelings. But I mentioned more as we're going to be learning signs for feelings. But the sign for like exploded, like I am angry, like I lost it is. And so I was just gonna explain, if you notice that, it's because the soda is smaller. Whereas when you're talking about like I like lost my temper, it is like big, like you were and slamming down. So just thought I'd give you guys that little tidbit ahead of time. All right. And then we have juice. So I've always seen juice with just J, juice. I mean, some will do juice here. But the sign for jealous is also there. So I always just kind of like if you say, I'm like orange juice, then that works because we're about to go to our fruits. So we'll just go from our fruits from here. So we have orange. And the cool thing about this is also the sign for the color orange. So that one is a sign that is used both ways. So the color orange, the actual orange. Then we have apple. So apple is going to have an X motion, and this top is going to be resting on your cheek, and you just go apple. And then we have strawberry. So strawberry is going to be thumb up, and you're just going to have your nail basically rest on your chin. Strawberry. And you don't want to be up here because this is the sign for secret, like keep quiet, secret. You want it on your chin, strawberry. Then we have peach. So peach is going to be peach. And it's for it's related to peach fuzz. So I was like, that does make sense with how, cheeks have hair on them and that. So peach fuzz or peach, sorry, not peach fuzz, peach. Then we have banana. So banana is very easy. Banana. It's that motion of you're peeling the banana. And then we did apple. So then the sign for fruit. So the sign for fruit is you're going to make an F and you're going to go fruit. You just brush it up. This is also the sign that you would use for like ketchup. I do see like this is ketchup. And I think it's obviously in relation to tomato, which I don't have on here, but I can show you that one. So tomato is red slice, like red tomato. And a lot of times they'll do more pointer, not this, it's like pointing. And it's almost like you're slicing tomatoes. So red tomato. Mm-hmm. And then now we will go on to our vegetables, which I don't have a lot of, don't worry. I was a very picky child. I liked my fruit. I was not a big vegetable fan. I am now, but back then, not at all. So the sign for salad is salad. And it's like tossing your salad. Then we have corn. I've seen corn 2 different ways, and I get so, because I'll see the kids sign one way and almost like the adults and teachers sign different ways. So corn, like you're holding it. I've also seen some that's corn. I think either way would work. So it still gets your point across as long as you're not talking about brushing your teeth, because that is one that I'm like, the motion of brushing can get confusing with, but and then we have cabbage. And I love how that's one that's hitting my mind, but it's also like the sign for like a head of lettuce, and it's cabbage. It's like, so you have your hand bent up, cabbage. And it's because like a head of lettuce, cabbage. I just think that one's a weird one. That's why I think it's always stuck with me. What other vegetables are there? Oh, green beans. So green, you make the motion for green, which is, I'm sorry, I realize I've not shown you the colors. So I'm over here just like, oh yeah, we could do green and we go ahead. No, I have to go back. So green is going to be your G, and you shake it. Green. And then the sign for beans is going to be non-dominant hands pointer, and you tap. It's almost like the little beans, the little peas inside, green beans. And this motion is for any type of beans. So if you're saying black-eyed beans or pinto beans, you would always use this motion for beans. Okay. Now we'll move on to the yucky stuff, and we'll get on
to the cutest sign. That is so cute. Like,
oh, I know, right? I love it. I like, as much as, and see, I'm not a big green bean or peas kind of person, but man, I do love this sign. I think it's so cute. I see all like those cute little, those little animated cute things of like peas in a pod where they're just all smiling cute. That's all I see when I do this. And I don't know why, but that's what I do. So, all right. So now we'll get on to the good stuff, like sandwiches. So the sign for sandwich is no. Sorry, that's burger. Sandwich. So it's almost like they're very slightly bent, like you're holding a sandwich in your hand. Sandwich. And you do want to kind of keep it not like in front of your mouth, but like close. So it's like I'm like eating a sandwich. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to stop right here and go back, because I realize we are going through these fast, and there is a lot more food. If we don't get to all of them today, we will get through them in another session. No worries. So let's go back all the way to food. So the sign for food. And then, do y'all remember what the sign for eat is? There you go. Yes, Mr. Ramtrisha. I'm stuttering. I can do it. I just stutter a lot. So, but you're right. Yes, it was eat. Very good. Then we have hungry. So hungry is that C motion first. And then thirsty is the pointer finger. Thirsty. And it's always funny watching kids, because they'll go, oh, and they make like that nose of like, I'm dying, like how kids are like, I'm so thirsty. They do it in ASL too, and it's great. I can't lie, it cracks me up. I watch them, I'm like, really need to go in acting right now. They're just like, I need water. I'm like, okay, you can go get some, but you really could be a great actor with how you did that. So then we have water, milk, soda, and then we have juice, and then we got onto our orange, So orange, orange. It's like you're squeezing it in front of your face. Orange. Then apple, bent X, apple, apple. Oh, excuse me, I got the hiccups going. Then we have strawberry, strawberry, thumb. There you go, yes. And then we had peach, so peach, peach. I always try to remember at least the main ones that I know I will eat and won't have a problem eating. So, you know, if all else fails, I can always be like, can I just have an apple? Like, that's how I kind of was like in my mode of like, when I was learning, was like, I have to learn at least the ones that I like. So if I have to, I can be like, I need this. So then we had banana, banana. And then the sign for fruit itself, which is the F, fruit. And then also ketchup. And that's when we got onto the vegetables. So salad, tossing your salads. And then we had, where am I? Sorry, I lost my place. Oh, corn, corn. Oh, I'm thinking of more as I'm listing. Oh, we will have to do some more vegetables. I feel bad how few vegetables I showed you guys. Because then we had corn, and then we had green beans. Green beans. And I think that was all the vegetables I showed you, right? Cabbage, that's right, cabbage, cabbage. Weirdest one, cabbage. The sign for potatoes. In my opinion, this is a very important sign to know. That is why I had to interrupt this going back and have to show you guys, because I love potatoes, every form, every way. So it's a very important one. So potato is going to have your non-dominant hand as a fist. Dominant hand is going to be in those two bent X's, potatoes, potatoes. And this can be, I have seen people use that for the sign for like chips. And again, it's just kind of context. So potatoes, chips. I think that's very much used for any kind of ways that you do to have potatoes. If you feel it's a very important, like I have to be clear, like, no, I'm talking about roasted potatoes or any of that, you would finger spell or you sign that motion. So for sweet potatoes, you do the motion for sweet. So sweet, sweet potatoes, sweet potatoes. And this sweet motion is for any type of sweet. Talking about sweets like not candy, because candy's this, but sweets like sugar, sweet, that tastes sweet. She's a very sweet girl. It's very much used as mostly as the sign for sweet, like sweet tea. So those things, motions, sweet. Okay. Then we have pumpkin, because we are getting into fall and everyone's going to be wanting their pumpkin spice. I won't lie, I'm one of probably the very few millennials or my generation that has not had a pumpkin spice. So I made it my goal this year to try it. You're like, I'm not like, I'm just not a big pumpkin spice person, but pumpkin is going to be non-dominant hand is in a fist and you're going to flick it, pumpkin. And it's going to usually.
Are you flicking the top or the side? Like,
so I'm almost flicking right where my pointer finger like motion. Flicking, yeah, there you go, pumpkin. I think if you do it more on top, it's fine. It's not too, this is one of those ones that if you do slightly change it up, it's not the worst thing in the world. So pumpkin. Okay, so now, ow, I hit my elbow, we're good. We're gonna go into sandwich. So sandwich. And I know we're running out of time. I'm gonna stop at a good spot and then I'll stop. We'll actually have a few more and then I promise I'll stop. So sandwich, then we have burger. So burger is burger. And it's that motion of you're making the meat patties. Yeah, burger. That's why when I realized I was signing sandwich, I was like, no, not, because I almost did burger.
I'm getting so hungry. Like
I am too. That is also
burgers, sweet potatoes, sweet tea.
Like, all this food, I'm like, this one's always a hard time to teach. Hard kind of, yeah, it's a hard time to teach because it's right before dinner and I'm always like, oh, I'm hungry now. For a cheeseburger or any types of cheese, the sign for cheese is going to have your non-dominant hand side palm. Dominant hand is going to be kind of like that slight arch again. And you just shake it a little back and forth. Cheese. So you would do cheese burger. Cheeseburger. And then I have the sign for meat itself. This sign can be used basically for any types of meat. So, and it is, you're going to have your non-dominant hand, again, like this. Dominant hand's going to have your middle and your thumb, and it's going to grab it. And it's a little gruesome. It's like meat on a meat hook in a butcher shop. That's basically what it is. And the cool thing about this sign, though, the cool thing is that it's also the sign for content. So, like, you know, the phrase of like, I have to get to the meat of the source or the meat of the information or whatever. That's where that comes from. And I think that's actually kind of cool that you can use that for both. Okay. And then we have pig. So, well, no, we're going to pause on the pig. That's not one we have to add now because that is also an animal, and that's also how you would describe it in food relation. So we'll push that one to the side because we are going to learn animals later. I have cake, or not cake, cookie, well, cookie and cake. So cake, I always tend to finger spell cake. And the reason is because this is cupcake. Cupcake. This is also used for cake as well. But to me, cake and cupcakes are different. I was that kid who enjoyed her cakes. And it's very important to me that those are identified as different things, because one is only one singular thing, whereas another thing is a big thing. So I'm always like cake. For cookie is you have yourself that pointer finger. Now your finger is bent again. So it looks weird, but it's like that. And you just put it to your mouth, cookie. It's almost like you're holding a cookie. And then pie. So pie is going to be non-dominant, is palm up. And you just go pie. Let me see if I can angle it. It's like you're slicing a pie. So you make a triangle almost. Pie. There you go, pie. And you just add what kind of pie, of course. So like, oh my goodness, we're running out of time. And I think it's, okay, I'll add this one and then we're going to do some more because there are more that I think are good, important. Chocolate, the sign for chocolate. I think we'll end on chocolate. So chocolate is going to be non-dominant hand is fist. You make a C motion and you put it in you make it a circular on your top of your knuckle, fist, whatever. Chocolate. I didn't teach this the last class when we talked about places, but there is a sign. The sign for church is also very close to chocolate. So church is going to be that same thing, but you tap it. So you have church and then you have chocolate. I will be one to admit I have gotten that flip-flopped so many times, and I have done it in my class, and my kids stare at me while they say, we're going to church. And I'm like, no, I have chocolate. And they're like, you said church. And I'm like, oh, my bad. So it does happen, but chocolate. Okay. So we will stop here. I know there was a lot in this class, this session. And again, I understand it's exhausting to be having to learn all these new ones and having to not be able to have that time to practice. So next week will be a quiz practice game kind of round to help you kind of practice it and go through. So we will not be having any new signs next week, just review. That'll give you guys that break. That way you can kind of get through it and also can use them, because there will be different kinds of games, like some where I'm signing and you're telling me what I'm signing, or I tell you what you should sign and I'll be watching all of y'all sign. And that's always a fun one, because that's one that really helps you think, oh, wow, I can't say it. And a lot of people do tend to have more receptive, where they can see it and understand it better than they are expressive, where they actually can sign it. For me, it was actually kind of the opposite. I was very good at expressing myself. I was very good at the signing, but man, when I was watching it, I just have to stare at them and say, I'm sorry, again. I remember telling my teacher that, and they just looked at me like, that is so weird. Most people are receptive. Why are you different like that? And I was like, I don't know. But
you're a very good Pictionary player, though, I'm sure. Or not Pictionary, but charades.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so good. It's so bad. My friends now have to tell me every time we start a game and I'm involved, they go, and no signing. And they have to aggressively like look at me because if not, I will tend to sign because like that's the motions. And it's just like it's the whole thing of just like because they're like that's technically cheating. I'm like, but no one else knows sign but me. So how is it cheating? And they're like, because you're doing motions that can be understood. I'm like, but it's not cheating. And so I'm very good at charades, but I do have to get in trouble. I have to be caught on to about don't be signing. So, and no worries, Miss Jennifer, that's totally fine. Oh, I did not mean to type. Oh goodness, sorry.
That was me.
Oh no, good. Well, I was like, I went up to like try to exit out and it swiped up.
When you said it, I was typing it. And
But yes, no worries. And if you're not able to join it like video tomorrow, you're not having class tomorrow, next Tuesday. You can still participate by typing in the chat box. Either way, it's whatever works for you. Again, I'm very flexible. I don't think of this as like a high school class where I have my rules and this is very strict. I'm like, no, you guys, I just appreciate that you guys are interested in taking ASL. So very flexible. But all right. Okay.
thank you so much, Jillian.
Bye, guys.
Everybody have a great week.
Yes.